A federal judge is about to confront a rising congresswoman in a courtroom packed with cameras, reporters, and history in the making. What happens next? It's a moment that shook the nation, went viral within minutes, and redefined how political power is challenged, all without a single shout or attack. You won't believe how Congresswoman Jasmine Crocket responded. The federal courtroom was alive with anticipation, packed beyond capacity as cameras rolled to capture a historic live broadcast. Judge Tanya Chutkan entered, her black robes flowing with a commanding presence, while Congresswoman Jasmine Crocket sat at the witness table, composed in her crisp navy blazer, hands folded calmly. Whispers and camera shutters filled the gallery as news had leaked that Chutkan planned to directly challenge Crocket over her recent statements about judicial independence. Security was heightened, reporters typed furiously, and the room overflowed with spectators eager to witness what could become a defining political moment. At the center of this showdown were two formidable women, each commanding respect in her own right. Born in Jamaica and raised in Philadelphia, Chutkan had spent decades climbing the judicial ladder, earning a reputation for meticulous preparation, sharp questioning, and an uncompromising defense of judicial independence, symbolized by a prominently displayed copy of the Constitution behind her desk. Across the room, Crocket, a 43-year-old civil rights attorney and rising star in the progressive movement, had built her career championing underrepresented communities, from fighting police misconduct to advocating criminal justice reform, and her recent viral statements criticizing federal court patterns had thrust her into the national spotlight. The stage was set, one wielding the gavel of justice, the other armed with legal expertise and a commitment to accountability, as the nation watched two powerhouses prepare for a confrontation that could redefine political engagement and judicial oversight. The tension in the courtroom stemmed from Crockett's recent statements about federal judges and their alleged political biases. Over the past month, her videos had gone viral, sparking fierce debates online as she argued that some judges were making politically motivated rulings and that Congress had a constitutional duty to oversee the judiciary. Supporters praised her courage, while critics accused her of undermining judicial independence. Public confidence in the federal judiciary was already at historic lows. Polls showed only 25% of Americans trusted the system, and any misstep in this hearing could send shockwaves across the country. If Judge Chutkan appeared intimidated, it might signal that political pressure could sway judges. If Crocket faltered, it could imply Congress lacked the authority to question judicial decisions. Legal scholars labeled it a constitutional test. Progressive activists viewed it as a fight for accountability, while conservative experts feared a threat to the judiciary's independence. The media treated it as must-see television, and constitutional law professors urged students to watch as a real-time civics lesson on the separation of powers unfolded. With the courtroom hanging on her every word, Judge Tanya Chutkan launched into a meticulously prepared warning, her tone firm and gaze unwavering. She outlined Congresswoman Crocket's statements, emphasizing how they could be interpreted as attacks on judicial independence and a threat to public confidence in the federal courts. Presenting evidence from social media posts, news articles, and public statements, Chutkan highlighted how Crockett's words had been amplified and, in some cases, linked to threats against federal judges and their families, prompting security personnel to tense as the courtroom absorbed the gravity of the accusations. Her argument was precise and methodical. Federal judges are appointed for life to make impartial decisions without fear of political retaliation, and by publicly questioning their motivations, Crocket risked undermining one of the foundational principles of American democracy, the separation of powers. Every word Chutkan spoke reflected decades of experience and unwavering commitment to the judiciary, leaving the gallery spellbound. Even seasoned legal scholars recognized that they were witnessing a historic confrontation, a masterclass in judicial authority and accountability, delivered with unparalleled precision. Congresswoman Jasmine Crocket rose to respond, and the courtroom fell into tense silence. Prepared with a folder full of research, statistics, and legal precedents, she addressed each accusation methodically, never losing her composure. She clarified that her statements about political bias were based on documented patterns in judicial appointments and ideological divides, not personal attacks on judges, presenting evidence from the National Law Journal and the American Bar Association that highlighted partisan voting patterns in federal appeals courts and a 40% decline in public confidence over the past decade. Emphasizing that her goal was transparency, not confrontation, Crocket framed congressional oversight as a constitutional responsibility under Article 3, citing Marbury v. Madison to demonstrate that accountability to the other branches was both legal and necessary. Addressing the most serious charge, that her words had incited threats, she unequivocally condemned any violence while noting she could not control misinterpretations of her statements, delivering her points with measured authority that turned potential defensiveness into an assertive, fact-based presentation capturing the courtroom's attention. The most dramatic moment came when Crocket pivoted to a thoughtful challenge, asking Judge Chutkan, "Do you believe the federal judiciary is perfect? Do you believe no judge has ever been influenced by personal or political bias? Do you believe the system is serving all Americans equally?" The courtroom was stunned. Such direct questioning of a federal judge was virtually unheard of, yet her tone remained respectful, her questions measured and systemic rather than personal. For the first time, the rigid authority of the courtroom met an equally confident, well-prepared voice. Judge Chutkan, known for her sharp authority, paused, visibly processing Crockett's words, and the tension that had dominated the hearing gave way to something more nuanced, a genuine dialogue about accountability, transparency, and the balance of power. This moment marked the turning point of the hearing, transforming the confrontation from a potential clash into an opportunity for mutual understanding and constructive engagement, demonstrating that principled leadership could challenge power without aggression. In a surprising turn, Judge Chutkan acknowledged the validity of some of Crockett's points, her tone softening from authority to thoughtful engagement. "You make valid points about constitutional responsibilities and public confidence in the judiciary," she said, signaling a rare moment of openness from a federal judge toward a member of Congress. Crocket responded with equal respect, emphasizing her commitment to improving institutions rather than attacking them, and agreed that language, tone, and forum matter, promising to express her concerns more carefully in the future. The courtroom, once charged with tension, erupted into quiet admiration as the confrontation transformed into a dialogue demonstrating how two principled leaders could challenge each other constructively. The audience realized they were witnessing a rare moment in modern politics. Power met with respect, disagreement met with civility, and confrontation evolved into collaboration. Within minutes of the hearing's conclusion, clips of Crockett's responses went viral, igniting millions of shares, likes, and comments. The most circulated moment was when she respectfully asked Judge Chutkan whether the judiciary was perfect, followed by the judge's surprisingly thoughtful reply. Hashtags praising her approach began trending nationally. Progressive activists celebrated her as a model of standing firm while remaining respectful, while even conservative legal experts acknowledged her composure and the legitimacy of her constitutional arguments. Political commentators dissected every frame, noting how her tone, body language, and choice of words shifted the dynamic from confrontation to collaboration, and professors incorporated the footage into civics and political science courses, analyzing it as a textbook example of effective political communication. The viral moment was not just entertainment, it became a lesson in principled leadership that transcended partisanship. The effects of the hearing extended far beyond the courtroom walls. Progressive activists, previously concerned about confrontational tactics, now had a blueprint for advocating change respectfully and effectively, while moderate Democrats saw Crockett's performance as proof that systemic issues could be addressed without attacking institutions. Even some Republicans privately acknowledged the legitimacy of her points about judicial transparency and accountability. Political scientists and communication experts began analyzing the hearing as a turning point in political engagement, noting how Crockett's thorough preparation, respectful tone, and principled firmness offered a model for lawmakers navigating institutional challenges in a polarized era. Fundraising reports and public support surged, reflecting widespread grassroots approval, while some federal courts announced plans to publish more detailed explanations of decisions, expand public access to proceedings, and review practices to enhance transparency while preserving judicial independence. What began as a potential constitutional crisis had transformed into a demonstration of how constructive dialogue could strengthen democratic institutions. The hearing became more than a viral moment, it became a blueprint for principled political engagement, showing that elected officials can interact with institutional authority firmly, respectfully, and substantively. Leaders across the political spectrum observed key lessons. Preparation matters, respect fosters dialogue, firmness conveys conviction, and finding common ground strengthens institutions. Educators, political analysts, and legal commentators hailed the moment as an example of effective leadership, prompting discussions about improving judicial transparency, enhancing public trust, and engaging constructively in a polarized political landscape. Ultimately, the story underscored a rare truth in modern politics. Confrontation can coexist with collaboration, criticism can coexist with respect, and principled leadership can inspire both public confidence and institutional reform, leaving a lasting impression that challenged other political figures to raise their standards and demonstrate that democracy thrives when disagreement is handled thoughtfully, not destructively.